Alright, this is my ammo can radio. This is ammo can radio number 2. Here's the dial on it, and you can see I have a line scribed on the disc. This disc was made on a drill press, and as you turn this, I looked it up. It's a Jackson Brothers reducer, and it's 6-to-1. Okay, and then on this one compared to the other one, I made the dial, the pointer, a little bit different. Okay, but I wanted to show you how I mounted it. See, the other one uses a bracket, and here's the Jackson Brothers reducer. This is what it looks like. Okay, and you buy one of these, and there's several ways to mount it. I showed you one way, that you make a bracket all in one. Now this radio here, let me disconnect the battery box and lid come off. Okay, battery box and lid going away. I want to show you on this one. I just happened to look at this one the other night, and I said, wow, I really did a different job. See, when you get older, you tend to think differently. Sometimes you have a really good day and you design something really slick and fast, and other times you're not as sharp. Let me turn this light on. Let me put my main little light on. Where's the thing? The controller. Okay, we can put this light down in there. Okay. Now, let's turn it maybe this way would be the best. See, what's good about this light that I use, here's the light. Okay, it's on the end of a gooseneck, and you really can mold it and get it into where you want it. And get it out of the way of the camera. All right, let's make sure we got everything. All right, see how this one's in there? All right, the tuning cap is sitting on an L bracket, and the L bracket is hooked to the front, and then this is just mounted in the mounting holes, and it hooks to the capacitor. So it's a much simpler design than that other bracket that I made. I just want to show you that because I've seen a lot of extra hits on the ammo can radio. Okay, and I can give you a real quick tour again of it now that I have my light out. All right, this is the toroid coil for the antenna tune and the RF mixer. The oscillator's up here. This is a Franklin Oscillator. This switch in the front here, that turns the BFO on and off. It does have a BFO, but it does have a product detector. I've showed you this radio before, but we're looking at it from a different angle. There's the BFO down in the bottom, and there's the the audio frequency amplifier. All right, and this back here, this is your BFO product detector on the input and the product detector on the output. Like I told you, I gave you the name of the guy and told you to look up any 602s, but I just wanted to show you the way I did this bracket, because when I built this second unit, I'm probably thinking to myself, I don't want to go through the hell that I just went through. Okay, now if you look, you'll see the paint's been removed on the ammo can, and anytime something needs to be grounded, you need to remove the paint from the inside of the ammo can. So if you don't, this thing could go in oscillation, not being grounded. You know, this ground that goes to the capacitor. Am I in the frame? Yeah, this means a lot, but not as far as a real ground. It's a ground for a circuit, but it really wants to see, the tuning cap really wants to be mounted on ground itself. Okay, and these are the things you're going to have to learn. Now, that tuning capacitor down there, that tunes the RF front end and the mixer. Okay, this is a 3-section tune unit, but I broke it up, and that's so the oscillator can be exactly on, and then the RF the RF amplifier and the mixer can be tweaked in, so you really get good tracking. But it becomes more annoying if you're just going along. Okay, On radios, a lot of them, the old ones, you're tuning all 3 capacitors at once. With this is set up for ham reception. So you know you're in a certain section. You have the antenna peaked and the RF mixer, and then you're just a matter of the frequency in this very narrow area that the ham frequencies are, like on 80 meters. Okay, and that's what I use this radio most for, was 80 meter hams at night, and they're very powerful stations. This is a speaker from eBay. It's a pretty efficient speaker to work off an LM386 audio amp, and then you have to put rubber pads on there, and you got to have a space. Otherwise, this is air sealed once you close this up, basically. Okay, so if you don't allow the air between the speaker to move, it'll sound even muddier than it does. So the ammo can is not a great case for a radio. Probably if you put a slot on the back of the radio to let the air escape from the speaker, the fidelity would probably go up on it. But I was looking on the internet. This is years ago I built this. I was looking on the internet, and I'm seeing what did people use an ammo can for. And I did see MP3 players and stuff like that people put in it. And I'm thinking, okay, let me put in either a transmitter in it or a shortwave radio. And I told you the name of the guy. Go look at my other videos. The name of the guy, it's Pentel or Pendle or whatever his name was. He has books, and they're on the internet, and they're in PDF file, and they show you how to make a shortwave radio. And I suggest reading up on toroid coils, and that's what I used. Instead of searching the world to try to find the coils he recommended, which he's British, I just converted their micro Henry. Yeah, they're micro Henry coils. You just wind them in on a toroid, okay? And that's what I did. And I do have real transistor IF cans that I located. Most of the stuff, if you really want to do it and you have the knowledge, you take your time and you locate stuff. And the first thing I built was the Franklin Oscillator. And I was building the oscillator for direct conversion radios. And it doesn't drift that much. For shortwave listening, it's perfect. It gives you a wide range, and it doesn't drift. Now, when it comes to sideband, you're going to have to let it heat up a few minutes. And it's pretty good. It stays pretty locked on. And then I've been working on this fast huff and puff type circuit. You've seen my other one. I'm still working on it. And in between, I've been taking things apart and throwing them out. Right now, there's 50 pounds of electronic stuff, carcasses and that, in my garbage, and I'm waiting for the garbage truck to come. And, because you're not supposed to throw that stuff out anymore. All right, and I'm throwing it out because I got to get rid of it, because when I die, I don't want to leave all this extra crap to anybody. And a lot of it's just hardware and pieces of something I built and circuit boards. I have boxes of things that look just like this. In other words, and you see it in here. You can see it. You can see it over here. Okay. And when I took the other one apart, now I have those circuit boards, and a VFO, a Franklin Oscillator. Let me show you. See, as you take something apart, you start getting these. And I know this is a Franklin Oscillator, and it's got a nice little mounting bracket. It's got nice standoffs, but that ammo can radio was the beginning of this ammo can radio. So then after I build it, you have these things left over, and then you can go in and salvage some of these parts. Okay, and a lot of times it's not worth it. Now on all my oscillators, you will see a Zener Diode, and this is like a 6.2. When you use 9 volts, you make the oscillator around 6.2. And that's so when the 9-volt battery drops off, this circuit will still work, because this Zener regulates it to 6.2. But you want this thing to be this is a probably a T50-4. It's a yellow, and the yellow core doesn't drift. Okay, so you got low drift, and then these capacitors are NPOs, and then you want to have a Zener supply. So as the voltage of the battery goes up or down, the oscillator stays fixed. Okay, but I had boxes and boxes and boxes of circuit boards that came off projects, and what I did was using this new heat unit thing here. Oh, the light's in the way. All right, using this, I can blow hot air, and I can blow. The tip of this thing. Look how small it is, and you can change the tips, and you can unsolder IC chips. It takes about 30 seconds to do a complete IC chip. To undo an IC from a board, you have to use the solder sucker 1 pin at a time, crack the pins. With this thing, all you do is keep moving it up, down one row, over, up the other row, and then go in a circle, up, and around, and all of a sudden the chip lifts out. Okay, and then after you've salvaged all the parts off the circuit board, you throw the circuit board out. And that's because I know I might use some of those parts if I live long enough. But if they're on a circuit board, I'm not going to salvage them off. I'm going to use a new one. When I die, all that stuff's going to end up in the landfill. So I'm thinking to myself, you know what? Let me get it to the point where I might use it again before I die and make it easier for myself. And that's what I've been doing. I've been going through all my possessions, and stuff's getting thrown out. And I once in a while I watch that hoarder show just to give myself the motivation. But most people don't organize their life. So every time you go to use something, you can't find it, and you get frustrated, and you waste time, and you never finish the project. And I learned, I had watched an Oprah show. When I was unemployed, I turned the TV on, and she had a guy on, and he says, once you organize your life, you effectively live 10 years longer. Because when you go to get something, if you can get it right away, find it right away, you don't look for it, you don't get frustrated, and you will finish what you set out to do. And I did that. I started organizing myself, getting bins, labeling the bins, like that. That's just some of my racks of parts. Everything's labeled, okay? And then up above there, those two little Binny Poos, those are parts for the proto board. And that other little drawer there, that's got proto pins that I've salvaged and parts I've salvaged. So when I build something, I bring this bin out, and this is salvaged parts in this bin, okay, along with proto pins. It originally was the proto pin board bin, but I have in here, I have agate or agate sockets. They're really nice sockets. They're gold plated. All the really good stuff I've recycled. Okay, so whenever I build anything, I keep this off to the side. And almost everything on this board is from that bin. Okay, so this is almost 100% recycled stuff. And that's the way I'm rolling. Okay, but I just wanted to show you that bracket. There's many ways to mount this thing. And I think you could do it with spacers if the capacitor itself has the holes that line up with these holes. But you're going to have to build some type of bracket. Just having this isn't going to do much for you. You're going to have to build some kind of bracket. And for me, like even my circuit boards and stuff, notice it's got a mounting bracket. And that's because this is a module. And this was made just like the modules in here. I can move them around. And when I build this ammo case, I can basically go, okay, I can fit this in here. I can fit that over there. And the first one was the trickiest. And then to make this second ammo unit, all I had to do was redesign it in my head. And I knew what I could fit and where I could fit. Okay? But this one was made so you could really peak up the frequency. Okay, this is frequency. And this is the RF front end and mixer. And you can really peak up the signals. Now you could really get ridiculous and have a separate knob for all three and really peak up a signal on an old type design. I think that's it. All right, that's it.